Hello, I'm Dr. Malloy Penultimate Whittlesticks III, and today we'll be spending our second to last video in 10 towns, as we visit the towns of Mead, Lonelywood, and Termalaine. The town of Mead is known for its good mead, go figure, and while transporting this good mead, a giant kin, known as a Verbeeg, came in and stole it, as well as killing the town speaker. Now the town is electing a new speaker, and the party has a good chance of winning if they can complete this quest. An issue with this quest isn't exactly the quest, but the Verbeegs. There's literally no lore about Verbeegs basically anywhere in the book. So I took some time to write it. You can find this little write-up of lore in the description below. Now on to Area V3. This area is kept mostly the same, except for a large group of trees that have formed in a bouquet. Next is Area V5, where we are completely getting rid of Friend the Ogre, but instead we're going to be replacing him with Baby, the Yeti type. While Durg was out scavenging for food, he was ambushed by a Yeti. He quickly defeated the beast, but he found its cub hiding not far away in some rocks. So the Verbeeg took the little Yeti home, and he's had it as a child ever since. Also, we're going to be moving the Mead from this area to Area V10. More on that later. Area V8. The only thing that we're going to add is 4 spear-wielding skeletons that are inside of the niches. They won't attack, but one of them wears a bracelet that's worth 30 gold pieces. If released, they will just leave the cave and walk to the elven tomb in Lonelywood to serve Shinar, the mummy. If your players have the mummy with them already, the skeletons will probably join them. Area V9. Before the players even see Dur, they hear him talking to himself in Giant. He's reciting a poem that he's written to try and woo the other Verbeeg, who will be coming to dinner very soon. The poem is in the description below. Depending on how you want to do this encounter, instead of fighting, Gur is basically just looking for help with his romantic woes. If the players help him in this endeavor, then he is more than happy to give them any of the leftover ale after his date. Area V10. As I stated earlier, this is now where the mead is. This area also has a large table, 2 roasting Goliaths for dinner, as well as some chairs and large barrels to be used as cups. If your players help the Verbeeg try and get a date, then you can run the little side event, Dinner for 2. Basically, the 2 of them just have a date, and if all goes well, then the players are rewarded with a cask of honey mead, about 50% of which has been drinking during the date. Now, on to Lonelywood, in my opinion, one of the most quintessential quests for your players to run, despite the fact that all of my groups have ignored it. Anyway, in Lonelywood, a white moose has been causing trouble for loggers in the forest. The moose is known as Bloodfur, and it has mangled and fought off many hunters. Instead of the town speaker being the one who's giving the players the quest, it is actually a frost druid in disguise. They will offer the party 50 gold. In true, they're trying to convince more people to go into the forest to be killed by the moose. So after a while of the party searching the forest, and eventually they find the moose, that will lead them to the ancient elven tomb. Area E1. This area still has the 6 elf statues, and the warding effect is still in place. But instead of having it undefended, the soul of an elven king is in fact what keeps the wards going. So if the players begin messing with the ward, the elven king will come out. You can either use the Phantom Warrior stat block or the white stat block, depending on what books you own. Anyway, after they fight it, the ward will disappear. The ward, along with the elven spirit, will return once 24 hours have passed. Area E3, otherwise known as the gazebo, is basically the exact same, except any creature that can see into the ethereal plane sees dozens of ghosts of the elves chanting around the gazebo. Area E5. There are 3 awakened wolves here, hiding in the snow behind the moon dial. They attack as soon as any player enters their area. If 2 or more are killed, the last one will retreat to Area E6, alerting the White Moose of Lonelywood. Area E8. A withered elven corpse lies in this room, with a map in its hand. This map leads to an ancient elven city under the ice. We'll go into that in a different video. Unfortunately, none of the frost druids speak Elvish, so none of them exactly know how to access this tomb. Lastly is Area E9. Ravison, the frost druid, is waiting around here. She wanted to be able to read the elfin script, and thus has kidnapped the researcher from Bremen, otherwise known as Tali from the Lake Monster quest. He is tied up inside a sarcophagus. A player with a passive perception of 12 or higher can hear his screams from within the tomb. Ravison is hoping to get her hands on the map, and is willing to parley with the party. Of course, if the players have stolen anything from the elven tomb, or killed the White Moose, she will fly into a rage attempting to kill them. Now, if the players free Tali and defeat Ravison, then he can tell them the location of the ancient elven city, but as I said, there'll be more on that city in a different video. And our last stop for this video is Termalaine. This quest is about a clan of kobolds, and how they have seized the Termalaine mines in order to collect shinies. Area M1. 2 ambush drakes guard the entrance. 3 dead miners are torn to shreds by a drake, lie on the ground. Area M3. We're removing the giant rats combat, but instead there's a pair of Icewind kobolds named Skulk and Stir. They're both just getting water from the lake. They don't have any weapons, but they do have some buckets that they could use as improvised weapons. Area M5. The kobolds aren't trying to sabotage this walkway, since they need it to get fresh water. Instead, there are 2 giant wolf spiders that lurk under the scaffolding that attack any lone creatures. Area M11. Instead of just being a normal kobold, Trex is now a kobold scale sorcerer. And instead of the ghost of Trex being what corrupted him, he was corrupted by the psi crystal, which he is trying to mine out. He has gone completely mad, and believes that the mine is under his control. Area M12. There are only 2 kobolds in this room, and these kobolds are in fact the kobolds of Valin Harpel. Valin has heard a distress signal sent by the Illithid ship, more on that in another video. But anyway, Valin believes that this weird distress signal might be her key to Ythryn. So she sent some of her kobolds down the mine to collect the psi crystal. The kobolds don't want to fight, and in fact, if the players help them, they'll lead them to wherever Valin is, which is probably Brynshand or. And lastly, M13. This room has been turned into a hatchery. A weaponless kobold stands in this room with 6 little eggs, as well as an ambush drake that they have as a pet. Well, I hope you enjoyed these little changes to the couple of quests in Icewind Dale. If you use any of these changes, or made any changes to the module yourself, feel free to put them in the comments below. Speaking of the comments, there's a little kind of important comment down there by me. I'd like you to check it out, or don't, but please do. Anyway, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.